Imagine watching a nature documentary on television. A baby giraffe falls out of its mother, hits the ground, and within 30 minutes it is standing on its own 4 legs. A few hours later, it is actively running alongside its herd, capable of outrunning predators. Baby sea turtles dig themselves out of the sand and immediately sprint toward the ocean, knowing exactly what to do. Even a baby chimpanzee, our closest genetic relative, can tightly cling to its mother's fur just hours after being born. Now look at a human baby. It cannot lift its own head. It cannot focus its eyes. It cannot crawl. It cannot hold on to you, and it certainly cannot find its own food. If you leave a human baby completely alone for even a few hours, it will not survive. It will take roughly a year before they can even take their first clumsy steps, and several more years before they can secure their own food. We are the apex predators of planet Earth, the species that built skyscrapers and split the atom. Yet we start our lives as the single most helpless, utterly useless creatures in the animal kingdom. Why? Evolution is generally a brutal, unforgiving process that eliminates weakness. A crying, helpless infant is a massive vulnerability. It attracts predators, slows the tribe down, and drains an unbelievable amount of calories and energy from the parents. Logically, nature should have fixed this biological flaw millions of years ago. So, why didn't it? It turns out, nature didn't make a mistake at all. The extreme helplessness of a human baby is actually the result of a massive biological traffic jam, a brutal compromise between two of the greatest evolutionary superpowers our species ever developed: walking upright and having a massive brain. To understand this, we have to rewind the clock a few million years. Our early ancestors made a radical decision to come down from the trees and walk across the African savanna on 2 legs. Bipedalism was an absolute game changer. It freed up our hands to carry food, craft tools, and hold weapons. It allowed us to see over tall grass and travel incredibly long distances without burning too much energy. But walking on 2 legs requires a very specific and complex skeletal architecture. You can't just stand a chimpanzee up and expect it to walk smoothly. To balance our torso directly over our legs and keep our internal organs from spilling out, the human pelvis had to radically change shape. It became shorter, wider, and shaped like a bowl. It was an engineering marvel for walking and running. But this new, incredibly efficient bipedal pelvis came with a very serious side effect. It significantly narrowed and twisted the birth canal. For a long time, this wasn't a huge problem because our early ancestors still had relatively small brains, similar in size to modern apes. But then, our second superpower came online. We discovered fire, we started cooking our food, and we began eating highly dense, calorie-rich diets. Our brains exploded in size. The human brain is an absolute metabolic and neurological wonder, but physically, it is massive. And here lies the greatest biological conflict in human history. Scientists call it the Obstetrical Dilemma. We had a rapidly expanding, massive baby skull trying to pass through a shrinking, narrowly twisted birth canal. Evolution backed itself into a terrifying corner. If a human baby stayed inside the mother's womb until its brain and body were fully developed and ready to walk, like a baby horse or a cow, its head would simply be too enormous to pass through the mother's pelvis. Both the mother and the baby would tragically die during childbirth. Evolution had to find a solution to save the species, and its answer was brilliant but incredibly messy. It simply hit the eject button early. Human babies are essentially evicted from the womb months before they are biologically ready to face the world. Some pediatricians and anthropologists actually refer to the first 3 to 4 months of a human's life as the 4th trimester. When a human baby is born, it is fundamentally a fetus living on the outside. Their skulls aren't even fully formed. If you have ever felt a newborn's head, you know they have soft spots called fontanelles. The skull bones haven't fused together yet, deliberately leaving gaps so the head can literally squish, compress, and overlap onto itself just to squeeze through the narrow birth canal. Because they are born so prematurely compared to other mammals, their neurological wiring is completely unfinished. Their nervous system is still under construction, which is why newborns randomly jerk their arms and legs and cannot coordinate their muscles. Their digestive systems are barely online. They are a biological rough draft. At first glance, this looks like a terrible evolutionary handicap, but this extreme vulnerability is actually the exact secret to human global domination. When a chimpanzee is born, its brain is already roughly 50% of its adult size. It is pre-programmed with most of the instincts it needs to be a chimp. But when a human baby is born, its brain is only about 25% of its adult volume. This means that the vast majority of human brain growth and neural wiring happens outside the womb, actively exposed to the surrounding environment. This is an unimaginable advantage. A baby horse is born knowing how to be a horse, but a human baby is born highly neuroplastic, meaning it is ready to adapt to literally any environment on Earth. Because their brain finishes building itself on the outside, it wires itself perfectly to match its surroundings. Whether that baby is born in an igloo in the freezing Arctic, a nomadic tent in the Sahara Desert, or a high-rise apartment in modern Tokyo, its brain will soak up the specific language, culture, and survival skills of that exact environment. Our babies are born helpless because they are trading physical readiness for infinite adaptability. But there is one more profound consequence to this early birth, and it shaped the very core of human society. Because human babies are born completely helpless, a mother simply could not survive on her own. She could not hunt for meat, forage for plants, and defend herself from predators while holding a fragile, utterly dependent infant 24 hours a day. This extreme vulnerability forced humans to do something extraordinary. We had to cooperate. It took a village to keep a human infant alive. Fathers, grandmothers, siblings, and extended tribal members had to step in, share food, provide protection, and take turns watching the baby. This intense need for cooperative childcare drove the development of deep empathy, complex communication, and tight social bonds. We had to invent language to coordinate our care. We had to build strong communities because a solitary human meant a dead baby. So, the next time you see a newborn baby just lying there, staring blankly at the ceiling and crying for milk, don't think of it as weak. You are looking at the ultimate evolutionary trade-off. Their helplessness is the exact price our species paid to walk upright, to think deeply, and to conquer the world. They are completely dependent, but that very dependence is the glue that forced us to become human.